Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some more Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. But before we start, I just want to say a big thank you to the community. The support for this series so far has been really positive, so keep smashing that subscribe button. That really helps me out. But now that we have an official start date worldwide release of the 10th of May, a lot of players are going to want to know exactly what to focus on when they first jump into the game. It's actually been really good being able to get my hands on the game nice and early because I've been able to make some mistakes, so when it resets I'll be able to do things a lot better than what I have the first time around. Because if you're like me and you find a lot of the shadow characters a lot more interesting and you want to farm them straight away, that can be done. However, it's not the smartest way to spend your resources early in the game. And this video is going to show you why you should really start on the light side rather than the shadow side. The battle that you're currently watching has the 5 characters that I would start on. The one in the top left there is Boromir. This mission actually just lends you him. Boromir is not actually available to start this game off, so don't bank on getting him into your character ranks. But the other 5 are definitely characters that you want to start with. Not only are they good for the early game, but they will build up for the mid and end game teams that you're going to be working towards anyway. But to get a little bit more specific, the first one you're really going to want to focus on is Stryder. Now you do get him right at the very start in the tutorial, so he's one of the characters you get for free. And if you get them for free, you may as well use them. He's pretty good as far as damage is concerned. He also has an AoE attack, which can be really helpful for some of those bigger teams you come up against, especially things like goblins that can be a real pain as they get stronger. He also has the leadership ability for when you build that full hobbit team as well, so him and the 4 hobbits work really well together under his leadership. Or even if you just have him there as a damage dealing support for the team, he works really well. So always worthwhile building Stryder up early on in the game. Now when you have a look at this screen here, you'll see the promote button on the right there. I've got plenty of shards to upgrade him, but in the early game you don't really want to push it past 3 stars simply because of the cost in gold. The only real exceptions would be Stryder and the 4 hobbits, only because when you're doing Sam's adventure, where you actually unlock Sam, to get to the 2nd chapter, you need to have Stryder and the 4 hobbits at 4 stars to continue. But until you get up to that stage, don't promote them past 3 stars. There's no real benefit in doing that, and the cost in resources is just way too high for the early parts of the game. The next character, and also your other freebie at the start of the game, is Frodo. Again, getting him for free makes it so much easier to start leveling him up. Frodo's actually quite a sneaky little damage dealer once you do level up those abilities. I've faced him in the arena a number of times and it's surprising how much damage he can actually do. And when he goes into stealth, it makes it really hard to try and take him out too. So he is quite a sneaky little hobbit to have in the team and will work for you in the early game. You'll probably swap him out for someone a little bit stronger as you build up. But getting him to, say, gear level 5 or 6 is still going to be beneficial down the track because you're really going to get a lot of use out of him as the game progresses. The next one that I'm going to talk about is also a freebie. After you do the tutorial, they'll get you to open up a chest and that will unlock Eowyn. When I first started the game, I didn't really think too much of Eowyn. I didn't really look that hard into her either, which I should have, because she's actually quite a strong character to have. And I really believe that once you get a full Rohan faction with her as leader, they will be the early meta in the game. I've only really just started leveling her up, and man, I'm really happy with what I'm seeing here. The problem with Rohan is that most of them are very hard to get unless you're going to start paying for things, which isn't really my goal at this point. If you have a quick look at her leadership though, Rohan is all about that crit damage those counter attacks, the assists, turn meter manipulation. They've got everything going for them. And this leadership ability, increasing the crit chance for all of the Rohan faction, could lead to some serious damage, especially once you start being able to level all of these guys up so that even their basic abilities are doing quite a bit of damage. But this second ability here, at first I didn't think much of it because I thought it was just giving might to some of the other characters, but then I realized that first upgrade, call an ally with the highest damage to assist. So along with all the other buffs that she also gives to her team, that can really amount to some good damage there just from that one skill. And the best thing about that first upgrade is it only costs you 1 gold and a few of the blue ability mats to upgrade, so it's really easy to do right from the very start. And the best thing about it is that it doesn't have to be a Rohan ally that's in the team. This could call anybody. So even if you're in the arena, you might end up calling a troll to assist. So that could be really, really effective even just in that mixed team. But the next character I want to talk about, I did show in one of my other videos, but again, this guy is really, really good and does fit in with this Rohan team, and that's Eomer. As soon as you finish that first light chapter and unlock the hard nodes, you'll get Eomer in that very first node, and the good thing is once you complete that node, he unlocks straight away, so you don't even have to start to grind him out. You can beat all of that with just those first 3 characters, so in many ways he is just a free character once you get to that stage. Once you gear him up a couple of levels, you'll unlock that third ability there, which is where his real strike power is. Now this is an AoE attack that can do some decent damage to everybody, but on top of that it also gives counter attack to himself and 3 other allies at this stage that I've got it upgraded to. Once it's maxed out, it gives counter attack to all allies. So if the next move is from one of the enemy that has an AoE attack themselves, the entire team will just go and attack that one character and could quite easily take them out straight away. He does also have a provoke ability, which is kind of like a mini taunt, like a 1-turn taunt, but because early on he's not very strong, you will have to gear him up quite a bit just so he's a little bit more tanky. But once you do build him up, he can do a lot of damage, and he can take a bit of damage for the team as well. But with those counter attacks, it really makes him a must-have in those teams, especially in the early part of this game. I have come up against this guy in the arena before where someone has put quite a lot of resources into him, and I can tell you straight off the bat, this guy is a real beast, so make sure you get onto this really early in the game. And the final piece of this early puzzle is none other than the other hobbit here, Pippin. And to unlock him, when you get to unlock the guilds, what I strongly suggest is join a guild. If you're not someone that likes to play with a team, just start one yourself and just make sure you set it to invite only, so it's only you in the guild, and give yourself access to the guild missions, because the 5th node along is where you'll find Pippin. Very easy to grind to unlock, but the best thing about this guy is the fact that he is a healer. He's not necessarily the best one in the game, but for the early game he's really going to get you by, and you are going to need him as you continue through Sam's quest. So if you have a look here, Old Maggot's mushrooms, they're going to get the job done for you. So you want to make sure that you level this guy up just to make him a little bit stronger, so he has that better healing effect as well. Since it is based on his max health, you want to make sure that you're gearing him up, just making him a bit stronger, and it also means that he's going to last a little bit longer in the battle. Now if you're really wondering why I'm pushing the light side to start with, it's all about resources. As you can see, there's a lot of limitations from what I've been able to upgrade. Everything in the red, as you can see, just with the upgrades down there. Gold is very important in this game. The other thing that you're going to run short on is the parts that you need to upgrade your gear. Now for all the light side, you'll see these crystals that are in the middle there at the bottom. Once you get to the blue gear, every single light character will need at least 4 of these for every single piece of gear that you need to upgrade. Now there are plenty of nodes where you can get these, but because they're quite expensive energy wise to get into, you don't really grind them for very long and the drop rates aren't all that good, so gearing can be very slow. The dark side characters have a similar thing with a dark crystal, where every single blue piece of gear will need bare minimum 4 of them to upgrade. Some of them are much higher than that as well. But what the game does really well is it gives you opportunities to get quite a lot of these. Depending on the teams that you have at the very start will depend on how far you can get. Now, not long into the game, you'll unlock the Adventure Hub. You can see the Gardener's Journey there where you unlock Sam. The most important thing is that first tab there where you get your challenges. So each day that will cycle through different things. You can see the light side crystals there that you can farm. Now you do need a team of just humans and or goblins to get through there. Goblins will take a little bit longer to unlock, so humans are your best bet. They don't have to be light side. You can get the Dunlendings a little bit early in the game, so they could sub in there if you need to, even though the synergy is not great. But building up those teams to get these crystals is something you're going to start to be able to do. But it's the next one that is the most important. As I've said, gold is going to be your worst enemy in this game. So when you get to here, this is where your light side team comes into it. So the stronger that is, the sooner you can start getting those bigger batches of gold. Now getting up to tier 4 does get a little bit difficult. To progress in tier, you need to be able to get 3 stars and reach a certain level to be able to unlock the next one. But if you can unlock tier 4 there, right, that's 20,000 gold each time. So you get 3 attempts, 3 times a week. So that's 180 gold a week you can get just from doing that. So once you get that to 3 stars, you just hit auto and then you've got your money right in the bank there. This is also the place where you get your challenge tokens, which are in the Lost Artifacts one there. So if you've made it this far through the video, this is one hot tip for you. Make sure you save those artifacts. Don't go wasting them on various things. What you want to save them for is this guy right here. Halbarad can actually taunt, he can heal, he can do damage. This guy is a really good character to have early in the game. He will take a little while to unlock, so make sure you're saving those tokens. The faster you can get through those tiers to get more tokens, the better, because this guy will really change things. I know you can also see Bolg there that shows up in the store. He might seem interesting, which he is. I'm not saying he won't be a good character, but I would spend them on Halbarad first and foremost. Now for one last treat, my latest Rohan guy that I've unlocked here, the Rohan Hearthguard. She is a really good damage dealer, but I just want to show you how quickly you can spend your gold. If you have a look there, nearly 185,000. So I've stocked up a little bit on gold here, stocked up a little bit on energy, just so I can show you how quickly you can go through all of this stuff. Now, just looking at trying to get her right up to level 45, that would have spent nearly the whole lot. So we're just going to stop at level 30 for the time being. That'll allow us to do quite a bit. I'll show you the first few pieces, then I'll edit it out because I don't want to bore you just watching me go through trying to get some gear. But when you have a look, the gear is pretty easy to get. Once you've unlocked those nodes, only do about 3 at a time. It usually gets you at least what you need, sometimes more. But you don't want to waste all of your energy if you can help it, just trying to get those couple of green pieces of gear. Now the good thing about it is the little bit of gold that you do make while you're grinding those nodes generally pays for that upgrade if you're doing 3 at a time. So it's not really until you get to the blue gear where it starts to cost you quite a bit of gold to start crafting those pieces of gear and applying them to the character. Now once you get to gear level 4, that's where things start to get a little bit more expensive, both on the parts that you need and the gold that you need to apply it. So you'll have 2 pieces of green gear, and even the green gear has 3 different pieces that you need just to construct it. And then you have the blue gear, which, as I showed before, needs those light crystals. But what you will notice is, to this point, our gold is still about the same as what we had at the start when we started gearing things up. So you'll see it start to go down quite rapidly once you get to this stage. But once we start applying the blue gear, that's where it starts to get a little bit more expensive. That one's over 7,000 to construct. Now when you're putting all those blue gear pieces together at a time, you can imagine it starts to get a little bit more expensive very quickly. Now I will just do this one quickly because I'm out of energy here, so I'll take a shortcut, get 2 of these from one of the other stores. We can construct that one more piece there. Okay, so we're down a little bit on gold. It still looks pretty good, but remember, we haven't actually started upgrading any abilities yet. If you upgrade all of these things and you don't touch the abilities, you're not really going to get very far. So what I really want to do is try and get all of these abilities up to level 3. I don't want to use any of the purple ability materials just yet, because you don't get enough of them to just start throwing them on any character on any particular move. You really want to be a bit more strategic as to which characters you start building. But as you can see, the gold is starting to dry up pretty quickly, just trying to get these up to level 3. Some of them aren't going to be as expensive. The last 2 abilities there are generally way more expensive. But then once you get to the next upgrade to go to level 4, it starts getting to the point where you feel like you could be spending that gold somewhere else that's going to serve you way better. So just upgrade this last one, leaves us with just over 50,000. So we could probably level her up just a little bit more. Not sure that I want to spend all of that just on her leveling her up. I can get her to level 38, which is still going to be pretty good, but that's 49,000 just to there. So we might just take it to 35, so that's half of what we had left. And with the rest of it, I just want to try and get maybe a little bit more damage out of Stryder here. So let's see what we can do. Yeah, we can afford more of his AoE attack. So that's where we'll spend the last of that gold. We're back down to 7 where the video started. So all of that gold, you can see it really only upgraded one character to the point where they were kind of just usable, and then a little bit more damage on one of the other characters that we can just kind of top them up as we go. So that gives you a little insight into just how quickly resources can disappear and what it takes to collect them in this game. Hopefully they will reduce that a little bit when the game comes out. I feel like it's slightly out of balance, but you never know what's likely to happen in the future. But for now, we're going to run with the information that we do have. In the next video, I'm going to take a little bit more of a deeper look at some of the shadow factions. So for all you guys that like your orcs and uruks and all those kinds of things, we're going to have a little bit of a look and see what you can do with some of those characters, where to start, where to work your way towards. As you can see, the team that I've got here is what I currently run in the arena. I've put so many resources into that Olog High, but the reason that I'm showing you this battle here is because this is a fair way up in the arena, and the team that I am against is the team that I was just showing you for the light side. So you can see that if you put some of the resources into that one team can actually carry you quite far into the game. and a lot of those characters aren't even really maxed out to the point where mine are at the moment. So it is quite an effective team, even though it's not entirely the best team as far as synergy is concerned. They still work quite well. They can get you to where you need to be to get those rewards. Those daily crystal payouts from the arena are very, very important. So if you don't have to waste all of your resources farming all of these different characters and trying to build 4 or 5 different teams at a time, and you can put most of your resources into those first 5 characters, it's really going to work a lot better in your favor. Even if they're not the most exciting characters that you want to work on, if you're free to play, you want to make sure that you're making your resources go as far as they possibly can. Because once you've got that foundation built, you're quite easily going to be able to start unlocking other characters. You're going to have access to better farming on the resources. You get more gold, more ability mats, and you'll just be able to work your way through the game that much faster. So for a slower start, you'll really start to pick up the pace quite quickly. But that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget, like and sub. You know the deal. We got plenty more coming your way. Don't miss out, and we'll catch you in the next one.